Well, that's a first. I went to switch into second gear and got neutral. I haven't done that on this bike yet until today. Today is September 11th, 2014. So old pal Mike 87 and the Phoenix. Beautiful morning. It's a bit cooler right now. I wonder what the temperature is. It is 73 degrees. Like it. Aqua. Something else occurred to me last night when I was watching a documentary about September the 10th, 2001, the last day of the World Trade Center and the last day for a lot of people. They interviewed brother of this lady who died and how he was at the Windows in the World. And they interviewed the bartender who worked the night before and showed his daughter the towers at 1 o'clock in the morning or something. Also talked about, or they also interviewed the people who dealt with the terrorists, those puddles of shit, who did the whole thing. Two of them anyway. Mike Toohey was the check-in guy at the airport up in Portland, Maine, and he was thoroughly traumatized by the whole thing because the guy started with him. Muhammad Atta showed up at the desk there and just kind of flipped his driver's license at him, and was full of hatred and anger. And Mike Toohey said, if this ain't an Arab terrorist, stereotype, I don't know what is. But then he gave himself a politically correct slap and thought, no, don't be racially profiling. And so he said, go on through. People who checked in the luggage talked about seeing that bag M, Atta, ended up not being on the flight on 9/11. Because it was late in the transfer. Ladies who dealt with him at the hotel they stayed at the night before, they will never forget seeing them. Mike Toohey still sees hallucinations every once in a while. He'll see a car go by, and that asshole will be looking at him. So here's my point. If the planes were fake, then what did Muhammad Atta get on with his accomplice guy? What did he get on in Portland? And then what did he transfer over to in Boston? And whose bag did the baggage handler guy refuse to put on the Flight 11, or I think it was Flight 11, the American Airlines flight, because it came on too late? Who was the guy that waved at the captain of the plane as the plane was being brought out from the gate? The gate guy remembers the plane. The gate guy remembers the captain. Distinctly recalls seeing the captain wave at him the last time. Because when something horrible happens like that, you'll never forget it. Thanks. So if there were no planes, then what did those people handle? Say, well, maybe the planes took off and landed somewhere else. No, they didn't. There are people watching it the whole time. You got radar guys, air traffic controller guys looking at the entire time, and they didn't say anything. They've interviewed those guys too. Yeah, I handled the plane, and I remember when the transponder turned off, and I remember hearing the weird messages. There are people from Portland, Maine, all the way down to the towers who saw things. What did they see? Nothing? Did they lie? Are all of them lying? From the old fat lady up in Maine and all the way down to the fireman who saw it hit the building? Conspiracy theorists are just, they fucking pissed me off, because it's like they think that these things exist in some kind of a fantasy Matrix Hollywood land. But there are people involved at every step of the journey. That plane did pull away from the gate in Boston. That plane was seen on radar. That plane was being communicated with till it was hijacked. The people did get on the plane because the gate agents put them on the plane. So how can you say there were no planes? It's fucking stupid. And it's the same with Flight 93, and it's the same with Flight 77, and it's the same with Flight 175. There were people who dealt with all those planes from the very beginning until the very end. Eyewitnesses who saw and worked on the stuff. Are they all lying? Is it one vast conspiracy? How do you account for that shit? You don't, because you don't have to. What happened on that horrible day was a bunch of fucking scumbags crashed some planes into some buildings, and we allowed it to happen because we didn't think it was possible. We didn't think anybody would do something like that. Put a suitcase bomb on a plane? Maybe, sure. Okay, so we have bomb-sniffing dogs and stuff, which is stupid anyway, because we know we don't really have good security, right? Everybody says it. We used to allow knives on the planes. I mean, they used our system against us. It was our own fault. It was a lack of imagination. It was really their fault, but they used us against us. You see what I'm saying? So, today's a day to remember the victims. If you say there were no victims, then fuck you, you know? Today's a day to honor the people who perished and to condemn the people who did it, and to worry that it's going to happen again. Something horrible like that's going to happen again. So let's see if we can guard against it, you know? To tell you the truth, I don't think this shit's going to end until there are mushroom clouds floating over a city somewhere. That'll put a stop to it, at least for a little while. Might put a stop to the human race. Brought down by the scumbags of all of us, right? But it's a beautiful day. And this is Mike Cayley 7. I'll talk to you later.